Yeah, if it wouldn't be there, if it was me, I'd know. What did Jessica say now?
8 minutes is what.
Oh, yeah.
I went to
Okay,
high
published
school and
it.
college and I was not having any computer course.
Oh, it's,
Is it loud now?
yep.
Ready? Everybody hear us okay?
Yes.
Is the volume working on YouTube?
I'm gonna check the volume on YouTube real quick.
Testing? Test.
Okay, can you hear us? Okay. All right, we're gonna call the meeting to order. And I have to read this statement here. If we experience technical issues such as loss of connection with a board member or interruption in our live stream, we will recess for up to 30 minutes to resolve the technical issue. If the issue cannot be resolved in a reasonable period of time, we will adjourn and reschedule this meeting. Sorry, can you go and give us the invitation?
Yes. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we humbly bow before you. Father, we just are so thankful for all the ways that you bless us each individually, the ways that you bless those of our school community, and the way that you bless the school collectively. And Father, we just pray that you'll continue to bless us. We especially ask that you will be with each of these board members tonight as they make these important decisions about our students and our school community. And we pray that you'll just grant them wisdom. They'll be able to decide to do what's in the best interest of our students, that they'll grow up to be productive members of our society, and they'll live long and healthy lives. We pray all these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, record of members present and absent. Let me call these off here. Brandon.
Yep.
Johnny.
Here.
Jeff.
Here.
Kevin.
Here.
And I'm also here. Okay. Report discussion and possible action regarding appointing Jessica Bussey. Do you want to skip that? As minutes clerk, is this for this meeting?
Mindy's here.
Okay, so Minnie's here. So just no action on that. Okay, principal's report. Jeremy Tharp.
Right now, there's only a couple things really to report. The main thing is me and the teachers are meeting and we're trying to decide what we're gonna do first thing with the kids as far as keeping them spread out. Lunchtime, same thing, recesses, and dismissal. Sounds pretty simple, but it's not as simple as it is. And like I said, right now we're meeting once or twice a week and trying to figure out how we're gonna do that. And of course, stay within our draft in doing so. So that's pretty well lit for the elementary right now.
Thank you. Ms. Birch.
Well, on Wednesday, we will start officially with our softball and baseball with our fall practices. So everybody's really excited about that, including Coach Guthrie. Physicals were going great over there. We had a lot of kids show up tonight, and we got the schedule completed. Coach Mr. Tharp and I have worked really good to try and move some things around that we need to get moved around in order to make everything work the way that we thought would be the best way possible for both of us. So we've done that, and then in addition, we have our enrollment forms set to go live on our website and on our Facebook page on Wednesday. And we collaborated on that as well to come up with a uniform enrollment system so that parents aren't looking at different forms. And as soon as they get those forms turned into us, then I'll send them their schedule and they can look at that through their school email and decide if they want to make any changes or not. And take care of all of that online, so there shouldn't be any paper pencil. And we're also working on setting up a time where our kids 6th through 12th can come up here and organize their lockers and staggered schedules and get all that taken care of as well.
Vehicle report.
As far as buses go, I did call and check on our leased buses for Midwest Bus. We have 2 buses that are in the second of the third year on the lease, and so one of those is here right now. One of those is still in the shop for just routine maintenance, and then we have 2 new lease buses that are scheduled to be delivered before school starts, and that's all they could guarantee me, and that's really all that I need. But they guaranteed that they would be here before school starts. We have the 3 buses that we own, or 2 buses that we own, and one of the lease purchase buses in the shop right now just for summer maintenance and inspection. So everything will be ready to go by the time August 12th gets here. And that's all I have for the vehicle report.
Discuss E-rate for 2020 and 2021 school year.
I put this item on the agenda. I just wanted to share with you some of our plans. They haven't changed, but we expect to get about $21,600 this year, again through E-rate. That's a grant process, and we'll again plan to use these funds to cover our internet expenses for our internet service. And so that has been such a blessing. We went from, if you remember, I would say just a few years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, we were operating at 25 gigabits per second. We increased that to 50, and we were still pushing the limit daily through this E-rate and rewriting some of the things in E-rate through our grant consultant, Kathy Claiborne, that you'll see here later on the agenda. We were able to increase that bandwidth to 500 gigabits per second a couple of years ago, and we have not had any issues as far as being short on bandwidth since. And so, great move, really paid off for us. So we'll continue to do that, especially as we're using more data with more electronic devices. Just another update review along the lines of E-rate. It was great timing, and it's really going to come in handy this year. We are getting a device for every student, so we will be a one-to-one school. Last year, if you remember, we went into all of our buildings on campus and we replaced through E-rate, so no cost to us, we replaced every wireless antenna and every server on campus. And so we should be good to go as far as internet capability. Don't anticipate any problems, any struggles with that. So I feel good about where we're at as far as our internet network here.
Thank you. A report, discussion, and possible action regarding the following consent agenda items. A is going to be approval of minutes of meetings June 8th, 2020, page 1 and 2. B is going to be approval of encumbrances for general fund, building, CNA fund, building bond, event center, and sinking fund 3 through 5. Questions there? Anybody have any questions there?
I don't think so.
Good, Joe?
No.
C is going to be approval of general building, CNA, building bond, event center, sinking fund, accounts payable 6 through 8.
And if you noticed in your packet, we also have an addition for FY21 for this current fiscal year, and that was to Sam's Club for $14,021.65. And I'll kind of explain what we're doing there. We're working on a project in this building, the middle school, high school building. Our smart boards, most of them were obsolete, and very few of them are working right now as they should. We use that projector smart board system. And so what we're doing this summer is going into all of those classrooms, replacing them with a 70-inch TV screen that's operated. We're going to operate Apple TV through that, and all of the teachers will have iPads. And so they will all have an interactive monitor in their classrooms. And that's what this Sam's Club purchase was for a lot of those monitors, a lot of those TVs, and the the accessories to wall mount them. So really feel good about that, and that'll really come in handy again this year.
Any more questions on that, guys?
No.
Okay, got approval account balances presented, 9-14.
On page 9, I just wanted to make you aware that we are aware. So as you look at those balances for those activity funds, we have missed out on some fundraisers since last March. But one thing to also keep in mind, and we have went through each one of these accounts, and the sponsors have as well, is that we also did not have some expenses, some large expenses that we typically have through the spring and things for some accounts even during the summer. So a lot of these aren't where we would typically be to start the school year, but by no means are any of those accounts in trouble. We just need to be, each of the sponsors are aware of where they stand, and we'll just need to monitor that for spending.
Everybody goes there?
And where did we end on June 30th or carryover?
So top of page 10. That first line there, 953, 236.
That's better than the 86. Wasn't it 870 last month?
Yes. Yeah, if you remember my prediction, I missed this by $3,000 this year, so
Really?
you'll forgive me.
Okay, we'll try.
Yeah, we'll try.
And I'm glad you pointed that out, Kevin. And I know all of you realize this. We are very fortunate right now where we stand. We know that state aid is going to have a substantial decrease going into next year. I feel like our enrollment, based upon what we've already collected, what we've already gathered, after rolling everyone forward, our enrollment should be up, which will help us with state aid. But also gross production is going to be down substantially, I think. This month we received, I think, $1,700 in gross production. For this month last year, we received over $7,000. So pretty much not count on gross production for this year. So I say that to say I feel very good about that number. It'll probably decrease. We'll probably use some of our carryover going into this year, but I think we're in a good position right now.
That's very good.
Any more questions, anybody?
No.
All right. Approval of facilities use requests 15 through 16.
Did have a couple of those, but people who are very easy to work with, so just something to consider right now. These are for January and March of next year, these the NWTF banquet. This is one they've held here for years, since I can remember. The other one is the Big Buck contest. So my recommendation there would be to approve these, and so that they can start making plans, because like I said, people that are easy to work with and will definitely understand if I have to come back to them later and say our facilities are still off limits to outside activities or visitors.
You do?
Approval of student transfers.
I do have several transfers to approve today. There are 5 elementary and 1 middle school that I would recommend for approval.
Approval of fundraisers for 2021 school year, 17 through 23. Any
questions on any of those? I think, we will have to make adjustments probably on some of those. I know Mr. Tharp is already working, with Jackie Hintz on Pickle Day. She volunteers for that, to make some adjustments, where there's not cross contamination. We don't have a line of kids waiting to purchase some items. And then also probably when it gets here, we'll need to adjust that Scholastic Book Fair so that we don't have, students going through the library in large groups. But I think we can adjust both of those.
Do I have a motion?
So moved. I'll make the motion.
He beat you.
Second. Oh, that's fine.
Johnny has a second there.
Oh.
Okay. Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I. Learning curve here. Let's figure it out. All right. Report discussion of possible action regarding appointing Jeremy Bussey as asbestos management designee for the 2021 school year.
That's something I've done for a while. I worked with Precision Labs that you guys approved last month, as far as our asbestos inspections. And so I rely on them quite a bit. Although I did have certificates and some training. But anyway, I'll be willing to do that.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Johnny? Second?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Brandon second. Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Aye. All right, report discussion of possible action regarding drug education committee for 2021 school year, page 24.
These are the same members that we have had for the last couple of years. They do a great job, put a good program together, and so I'd recommend we approve that list again.
Okay, can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Make motion.
Okay, Kevin has a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Second.
I think there's a little delay, so it happens. Okay, so Brandon,
Aye.
Johnny,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
and I. All right, report discussion, possible action regarding Title I committee for the 2021 school year. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Page 25.
So this committee, we meet at the beginning of the year and discuss uses for our Title I funds. We've stayed pretty consistent on those uses, but always looking for good input on how we might better use those. So I'd recommend that committee.
Go ahead and get a motion.
So moved.
Brandon. Brandon has a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Johnny has a second.
Okay.
Kevin. Thought I heard the voice there. Brandon.
Aye.
Johnny.
Aye.
Jeff.
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
And I. All right. Report discussion and possible action regarding approving the list of activity accounts for 2021 school year, page 26. Any new ones here?
Nothing major new there. We do have the academic team coach, Kelsey Reynolds. The other positions there just moved up in class or just according to what we usually do.
Any motion for that?
So moved.
Jeff has a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Brandon has a second. And Brandon,
Aye.
Johnny,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
aye. All right. Report discussion possible action appointing Jeremy Bussey as federal programs director, 2021 school year. That's what it is.
Sounds good.
That works?
Yes, yeah.
All right.
So that just means that
So moved.
I just oversee the federal programs.
Kevin's got the motion. Second.
Second.
Johnny has a second. All right, Brandon,
Aye.
Johnny, Johnny.
Aye.
Okay, here we go. Jeff.
Aye.
Delay. Hey, Kevin.
Aye.
And I. We'll delay that because he gave me the two ayes. All right, report discussion, possible action regarding approving the virtual learning policy, 27 through 28.
So, this policy, I just want to point out, and then I'll let Ms. Birch take the floor here, I think. So I just want to point out, this is not a new policy. You all approved this, I believe, actually approved a very revised version last year, but this policy that we've had for a while. Just wanted to make some slight updates that are relevant to some of the things that we're dealing with, and I anticipate that this policy will be used quite a bit, possibly to begin the school year and then later. So, Mrs. Birch, you want to explain the changes that we made?
So, and any kid wants to participate in our virtual learning program, they'll have to fill out an application with Mr. Tharp or with myself and explain the reasons behind wanting to do strictly virtual learning. And that curriculum will be delivered through Edgenuity. And then we also adapted with us the possibility of having some students want to actually do this. We adjusted the attendance policy so that it would count as being logged in and completing assignments, and so that way we could track them better and ensure that we've got kids working. But the virtual learning policy does require a lot of parent interaction because the parent is the learning coach and responsible for keeping track of where their kid's at and helping out in that area. It requires a lot of teamwork. So if we have any kids that choose to use that, we'll work with them and do what we need to do.
So does that require a daily login?
Yes.
And you can't work ahead in that?
Oh, you can work ahead, yes. But in order to be counted for attendance purposes, just like a kid here,
Right.
they have to log in and complete work daily. So, and the program's really neat because it does show us idle time. And so if this kid logs in and is, hey mom, I'm working from, 10 to 3, and we can actually see if they were actually working or if they were
Okay.
just logged in.
So it's not just logging. I mean, you can see what they're doing.
Yes.
Once they log in, you can
Yes.
see their activity. Okay.
You guys have any questions?
Thank you,
I
Mr.
think so.
Birch.
Okay, can I get a motion on that?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we got the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second.
Give it to Brandon. He beat him. All right, Brandon,
Aye.
Johnny,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
and I. All right. Board to consider and take action on a motion approving the renewal of sublease agreement dated June 1, 2013 between the District of Caddo County Educational Facilities Authority for fiscal year ending June 30, 2021, as required under the provisions of the agreement.
So if you remember, this is just how we presented this to the public whenever we had these bond issues. And so this one is for the event center and the ag building. And so this is an annual thing that we do just to lease the buildings until they are paid off.
Okay, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Brandon has, or Jeff has the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Who was that? Kevin? Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I. Alright. Board to consider and take action on a motion approving the renewal of a sublease agreement dated July 1, 2009 between the District of Caddo County Educational Facilities Authority for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2021, as required under provisions of the agreement.
So this is the same as item 14, except this one is for this building, the middle school and high school building.
It's a mouthful. Alright, can I get a motion on that?
So moved.
Okay, Brandon. Can I have a second?
Second.
Johnny. Brandon.
Aye.
Johnny.
Aye.
Jeff.
Aye.
Kevin.
Aye.
And I. Board to consider and take action on a motion approving the renewal of the lease purchase agreement dated June 10th, 2019 between District of Welch Bank for LED lighting for elementary event center and outdoor lighting for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021, as required under the provisions of the agreement.
So this is for the LED lighting in those areas. And just to remind you, so we entered lease purchase arrangements when we installed the lighting in 2 different phases. And still our total bill, the lease purchase plus our electric bill, is cheaper than just our electric bill was. And so it's a nice move, and hopefully we can continue that at some point. The only building we're lacking is this one, the middle school, high school. So at some point we'll probably look into replacing these lights too.
Okay, can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Kevin, second.
Second.
Brandon. All right, Brandon,
Aye.
Johnny,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
aye. Board to consider and take action on a motion approving the renewal of the lease purchase agreement dated January 9th, 2017 between the District of Welch Bank for LED lighting for Old Gymnasium and multi-purpose gym for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021, as required under the provisions of the agreement.
I'd recommend approval of that one as well.
Okay, can I get a motion on that one?
So moved.
Jeff has the motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Second.
Go to Brandon. Brandon,
Aye.
Johnny,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
and I. Okay. Board to consider and take action on a motion approving the renewal of lease purchase agreement between District and Midwest Bus for 2018 Chevy Mini Tour 15 passenger bus for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021, as required under the provision of the agreement.
So this is the only bus that we decided to go with a lease purchase contract. This is that little white bus. And just to give you an update, so right now with the mileage that we see on it, I would project that we'll have about 40,000, maybe 45,000 miles on it when we get it paid off. And so then we'll own it, and it'll still be a really good bus at that point. So I think that's the right way to go with that.
Okay. Can we get a motion on that?
So moved.
Kevin.
Motion.
Can I get a second? Kevin has a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Brandon,
Aye.
Johnny,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
and I. All right. Report discussion on possible action regarding approving a contract with Washita Valley CAC Head Start to provide special services for 2021 school year, 29 through 33.
Nothing has changed with this contract from last year, and this agency serves our 3-year-olds in the district and also helps us with child home requirements.
Any motion on that?
So moved.
Kevin has a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Jeff has a second. Brandon,
Aye.
Johnny,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
and I. Report discussion of possible action regarding approving a contract with Keith Claiborne for E-rate services for the 2021 school year, 34 through 35.
So everything I was mentioning earlier about E-rate, Kathy helped us with that. She helped us find a lot of funds that we hadn't been using, and so I would recommend that we continue to go with her. She's been working with us this week as far as shored up last year's project, so I'd recommend that.
Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Brandon has a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Kevin has a second. Brandon,
Aye.
Johnny,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
And aye. All right, report discussion of possible action regarding approving a student handbook updates for 2021 school year, 36 through 42.
I'll give the floor to Mrs. Birch.
So on the first page of yours, sure, okay. So, Mr. Bessie and Ms. Beerwinkle and I sat down and looked at the academic honors, and that's been a topic of discussion among teachers and several people about how we can make sure that we are applying the correct rigor and that we need for our valedictorian and salutatorian program. And so, after a lot of discussion, we are recommending changing with, beginning with the class of 2023, that those students, in order to achieve valedictorian and salutatorian, that they have to complete a 4x4 of core courses, which essentially means 4 English, 4 math, 4 social studies, and 4 science. And so that would include classes such as Algebra 3, chemistry, physics, any concurrent enrollment class they take could count for one of those courses. So it just would increase the rigor. And all of those courses would count towards their GPA. And we just feel like the policy as presented for you guys is a lot more, reads a lot better, and will be a lot more clear to our students. The next page, on page 13, I just updated what's in our handbook to match what is in our board policy book as far as suspensions, so that everything is there on the same page. The next page, on page 16, underneath drugs and alcohol, I went ahead and just inserted there that the automatic suspension would be a minimum of 10 days for the first offense, and then for a second offense, students may be suspended for the remainder of the current semester, and that this applies to possession, use, or distribution, just so that everybody is clear on what that consequence is. On the honors courses page, we would remove that beginning with class of 2023, because we would be taking that out of our valedictorian salutatorian policy, but it would need to remain there for our junior and senior class that we have now. And we would also insert in there that Katakiwa Technology Center advanced courses such as physics and different courses that they're taking up there, that they count towards that credit. On page 26, we are limiting the medication that's going to be dispensed here at school to Tums and cough drops. In the past, we've had students bring up Tylenol, ibuprofen, things like that, and leave in a cabinet in Ray's office, and we are going to be distributing that, sending that home. With everything going on, we don't need anybody suppressing behaviors and stuff up here, so we won't be doing that. And then just to reiterate to parents that if you have, your kid is taking prescription medicine, we have to have that bottle. You know, we can't have anything in a baggie. You know, we have to have that actual prescription bottle with the label, who it's for, what it is, what the dosage is, in order for us to give that to kids here at school. The next page, page 32, where it talks about the exemption policy. Had several teachers feel like it needs to be all or nothing. If they are exempt for one class, or if they have to take a test and they just need to be here all day, it would make it easier on them keeping track of who's here and not here. And so that was my recommendation to do that. And then on our, we would like to implement in there a sick policy based on our back to school plan, that if a student has a fever of 100 degrees or higher, they will be placed in a mask in the office, and they must be picked up by a parent or guardian within 30 minutes of notification, and then they return to school when they are fever free without medication for 72 hours, and then also insert the COVID-19 sick policy. If you guys, and this page is just contingent on if you guys adopt our back to school plan, then we would do that. As well as the next page, visitors, due to COVID-19, we're gonna be a little bit more strict on visitors and people that we allow in. They'd be on a limited basis, and then any visitors that we did have come in, we would take their temp and have have them wear a face mask whenever they come in. So those are the recommendations that we have as we look at dates.
The only thing I saw, Ms. Birch, is in the alcohol one. It's kind of old because it says 3.2 or less. We need to update that with the new Oklahoma standard.
Okay.
3.2 is not a thing anymore,
Okay.
so that just
So what should that be?
6 point now. So that just changes what they call non-alcoholic. So I figured it would have got that one coming, but been a couple years. I just seen that. I was like, oh yeah, I even changed that and everything in my house. So it's an easy deal.
Several changes there. Does anybody else have any questions?
Can I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Get a second?
Second.
Brandon. Okay, Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And aye. Alright. Report discussion of possible action regarding approving library deregulation waiver for 2021 school year 43 through 46.
So this is,
Hey, it's red again, so, but it's not working.
Oh, I don't.
yes, that's good.
So we're back up, going.
Yes, we're live again.
Okay. So what I have to do, something to call me back to work?
No,
No?
you're good.
We're good? So we are on item 22.
Yes, and I'll just tell it. So
Start
if you're
over.
watching, sorry, my phone went dead, and so we're back live again. Okay, sorry, go ahead, Dustin.
Okay? So I'm gonna reread this agenda. We're gonna start over and, because I don't know where it died at in there. So report discussion of possible action regarding approving library deregulation waiver for 2021 school year, 43 through 46.
Okay, so this is the one I was saying, so this application is the same as last year. Basically, we're saying that we don't have a librarian, a certified librarian right now, and so we'll staff it with a library assistant. And we've really moved, I mean, of course, we still have students who check out books, but we moved to a lot digital too, and so they do a lot on their devices. So we want to keep the library open though, so if we can staff it that way, that would be great.
Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Kevin has a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Brandon has a second. Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I. Report discussion and possible action regarding approving alternative education deregulation waiver for 2021 school year, 47 through 50.
So again, this application that we'll submit to the state board is the same as what we've had for the last several years. But I really like it, and I'll just remind you, with this application, this really isn't about saving any funds. In fact, it's really not that efficient financially. However, it is very good for our at-risk students. What that means is we're required to have at least 10 students in our alt-ed program, or we have to co-op with another school in the area. And so by doing this, this allows us, if we get this deregulation, this allows us to keep our own alt-ed program, and it's been very successful. Mrs. Burks has done a great job, Mr. Moreland's done a great job at keeping those students in school and keeping them from dropping out. So I would recommend that we continue with this arrangement as long as we can.
Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, Jeff has the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Kevin has a second. Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I. All right. Report discussion, possible action regarding approving school calendar for 2021 school year, page 51.
So if you have your packet, if you don't mind turning to page 51, and you can kind of follow as I go through. The calendar that you have in your packet has moved one date is what I was proposing there. But then since then, we had a few things happen since I sent this packet out, or had one major thing happen. That was the cancellation of the fair. So if you notice on the calendar that you have in your packet, it still has that we would be out of school on August 21st and August 24th. My recommendation tonight would be that we go to school on those days. They're so close to the beginning of the year. If we're able to start school, I would like to be here as many days as possible. And then move those days, my suggestion would be to move those 2 days where school is closed to the end of Christmas break. So to move them to January 4th and 5th. That would extend our Christmas break. And I think that'd be a benefit for 2 reasons. The primary reason would be that would give, if we're still dealing with COVID-19, which I'm guessing that we will be, that would give a little bit more time for if a student had contracted for those symptoms to show maybe after a Christmas gathering. And the other reason is that we actually have activities during Christmas break too. One of them being our basketball team has a big tournament in Mustang that week before we return. And so that would just allow them a little bit of time to recuperate before we get back into school. As far as activities on those dates, January 4th and 5th, we do have a high school game here versus Union City on the 5th. But that shouldn't be a problem. We've done that in years past where we play, even though we haven't come back to, school hasn't been back in session yet. So my recommendation at this time would be to move those days closed, August 21st and August 24th, move those to January 4th and 5th. And then on the calendar that you have in your packet, I had also moved the professional day from March 12th to January 15th. The reason for that is one of the grants that we received this year through K-20, we had to schedule professional development, and that was one of the days that would work for both of us, for K-20 and also for us. And so it'd be good if our teachers, we could have a professional day so our teachers could have that professional development that day. So those are the 2 changes that I'm proposing.
Any objections to those changes or any questions?
No.
I don't see any problem at all.
No.
Can I get a motion? So we're gonna approve your new calendar, not this calendar. Is that this one right here?
Yeah, so the motion would need to be this calendar in the packet plus moving August 21st, August 24th. We'd be in session there, and we would be closed January 4th and 5th. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve calendar as amended.
Okay.
With taking the 21st and 24th and moving them to the 4th January.
Can I get a second? Kevin's got the second. Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Aye. All right, report discussion and possible action regarding approving contract with Kendra Smith for special ed testing for 2021 school year, 52 through 53.
So we had been through transitioning to this the last few years. Kendra has been getting her licensures for this type of testing as a psychometrist. But if you remember, Kendra is now working at Southwestern, but she would like to continue testing our students, and she approached me with that. And so I would like for her to do that. And I think she does a great job. Very good to work with our students.
Can I get a motion on that?
So moved.
Jeff has the motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And aye. Vote to convene into executive session to discuss employment resignation of certified and support personnel pursuant 25 OS 307 B1. Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny? Johnny? We get 2 ayes.
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And aye. Do we explain? Or you just shut and go? you. We're acknowledge return to open session.
Pursuant to 25 OS 307B1, the board met in executive session. Those present were Jeremy Bussey, Jeff Engelbretson, Dusty Carney, and joining via Zoom were Brandon Strack, Kevin Props, and Johnny Stotts. No action was taken.
Report discussion and possible action regarding the following personnel assignments. Mindy King, encumbrance clerk. Mindy King, minutes clerk. Jessica Bussey, treasurer. Mindy King, child nutrition custodian. Jessica Bussey, activity accounts custodian.
The only change there is that as far as title, we had child nutrition custodians last year, and that was Minnie and Jessica. And so now we would like to just name one. That reduces the amount of training they have to have. And so I do really appreciate both Mindy and Jessica for taking that on. They do a great job. That was a duty that I added a couple of years ago. It used to be a paid position, a full-time paid position, but they've taken that on. Really appreciate that from them.
Any motion?
Moved.
Okay. Kevin has a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Brandon, second. Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And aye. All right, report discussion and possible action regarding accepting the resignation of Lacey Friesen, a certified teacher coach for 2021 school year.
I do have a letter of resignation from Ms. Friesen. Dear Mr. Bussey and Hydro-Eakly School Board, this letter is to serve as my resignation from all duties assigned to me at Hydro-Eakly Schools effective immediately. I want to thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to be part of this school system. I appreciate the confidence you all had in me being a first-year head coach. I can't express my appreciation enough for your strong support of me through this difficult school year. I also want to thank you for trusting me with not only your own children, but those who you care for like they are your own. I believe Christ leads me where I need to be, and through the trials, I still believe I was led here for the kids. I believe the opportunity I've been given for the coming school year was placed in front of me for a reason as well. Thank you for your kindness and support this past year. Sincerely, Lacey Friesen. And I recommend we accept that resignation.
Can I get a motion on that?
So moved.
Jeff has a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
That'd be Kevin. Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And aye. All right. Report discussion and possible action regarding accepting the resignation of Nan Owens as library assistant for 2021 school year.
I also have a letter from Nan. It says, I would like to thank Hydro-Eakly for choosing me as their librarian. At this time, I have chosen not to work full-time. I look forward to being a sub in the elementary. Thank you, Nan Owens.
Can I get a motion on that?
I'll make the motion.
Kevin has a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And aye. Report discussion possible action regarding hiring a list of support staff for the 2021 school year, page 54.
So there are no additions, no changes to this staff from last year. And you might notice that Danny Graham is missing from the bus drivers, but he was rehired last month for his maintenance position and the bus driving positions.
A motion on,
So moved.
okay. Jeff has the motion. Can I get a second? Kevin has a second. Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And aye. Report discussion and possible action approving hiring Debbie Carone as custodian for 2021 school year.
I'll make that recommendation.
Okay, can I get a motion?
I'll move.
Kevin? Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And aye. Okay. Report discussion and possible action approving hiring Hannah Guthrie as certified teacher coach for 2021 school year.
I'm really excited about Ms. Guthrie coming here. I think our team did a great job, our hiring team, on finding this coach. She's really excited to starting practice and has already moved down this way. So I definitely recommend hiring Hannah Guthrie.
Any motion?
So moved.
Second? Kevin has a second. Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And aye. All right. Report discussion of possible action approving hiring Shelby Unruh as certified teacher for 2021 school year.
So again, I'll just say I'm so happy that we're so blessed here. We have great teachers, but whenever we do have a vacancy, we just fill with another great teacher, great person. So I'm really excited about Shelby joining our team. She is not fully certified yet. That will be completed before the school year starts. So I'd recommend hiring her pending certification.
Okay, can I get that motion?
Make a motion, we hire Shelby Unruh pending completion of certification.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, Johnny has a second. Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And aye. Report discussion and possible action regarding the certified teacher salary scale for 2021 school year. Page 55.
So this is the same salary scale as last year, which includes the raises that teachers got last year. I'd recommend approving that.
Any motion on that? Kevin, how's that? Yeah, it was Kevin. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
Johnny, I'll give it to Johnny. Beat him by a second. All right, Brandon,
Aye.
Johnny,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Kevin,
Aye.
and aye. All right, report discussion on possible action regarding approving back to class plan for 2021 school year.
So you should have received 2 documents related to the back to school plan. I'm going to go through the one that's straightforward without all the pictures on it. It's the same; they're the same thing. Just this one's easier to read through. As I go through this, if anybody has any questions, I'm not going to read it verbatim, but just hit the high points, some of the big challenges that we've had. If anybody has any questions that they would like to ask or any input, please feel free to interrupt me. First, I really want to thank all those people who had input in this. We had input from parents, from teachers, and a lot of hours have been spent on this by our administrative team, and so I'm really appreciative of that. I'm just trying to do the best things that we can do to get our kids back in school and back learning in some way. So that first part, there was a lot of thought to that as far as our purpose. We do want kids back in the classrooms. Feel like that's where they learn best, and feel like that, with the in person is ideal. There's a lot that we offer other than just the academics here at Hydro-Eakly, and it's hard to do that virtually, but sometimes we have to. That second part there, this remains in effect as long as the district determines that it's necessary. Again, I got really bad at predicting back about March. I thought I was pretty good at predicting things before then, but there's a lot of things that have happened that I would have never predicted, and so this will be a document that we have to keep working on, keep revising to do what's best for our kids. That first section under student health and safety, we definitely want to allow face masks at this point, but at this point we would recommend not requiring them by students to be worn in the school building. Again, this is a working document, and those things could change as we learn more about the transmission of this virus, and possibly even as we see when we get into class that this needs to be changed. However, one of the big challenges that we kept having trouble coming up with a solution was school buses. in the classroom, and we would role play this, and we moved separated desks in the classroom. But on the bus, it was just extremely difficult for us to think of a solution as far as spacing is concerned. Some of our bus routes our buses on bus routes are fairly crowded. The challenges that we have as far as adding bus routes, first of all, buses, coming up with buses. Most of those, as you know from experience on this board, we have to put those orders in for a new bus most of the time at least a year in advance before we're going to get a new bus. And then the other thing that's probably a bigger challenge is finding bus drivers. As you know as well from being on this board, there have been many years where either I or the principals are driving a half or full route just because we can't find anybody to be a bus driver. And so those present some big challenges that are, I would say, difficult, but really impossible to overcome with the time that we have. So we propose that we require face masks to be worn on the bus. We believe, after thinking about this for months and a lot, especially in the last few weeks, that that's the only way that we can protect our kids and keep them safe on the school bus is if everybody wears a mask. And not only our bus riders, but also our bus monitors and our bus drivers. The next part there, the thermometers have been purchased. We've had some really cooperative community members that have helped us out with this, but we've purchased thermometers for the touchless thermometers for every classroom here. So every teacher will have a thermometer. Our thoughts there were that we didn't want any kid that might start feeling ill in the classroom. We didn't want to be sending a line of kids through the hallways and through the office to go get their temperature checked. So that can easily be done just right outside the classroom door, so that we can address that quickly. And then also we do have a supply of masks here. And if a student does have a temperature or does have a fever, especially when we're talking about COVID, the recommendation has been consistent of 100 degrees or above, then we're going to provide them with a face mask to be worn until the parent gets there. And one key to this process is in the past we've been pretty lenient because we understand that sometimes if we call a parent when their child's sick, they're working, and it takes time to make arrangements to either get here themselves or to have a friend or a loved one come get them. Really, this year we really need those parents to get here as quickly as possible. So the time limit that we put is 30 minutes for either them or one of their contacts to pick up the child so that they can be removed from the setting, but also receive treatment. So that is a change that we have there. Again, all of these were big questions. I'll keep saying that. Big questions that we had, a lot of challenges and considerations. The next part is what if an employee or student contracts COVID and they're exhibiting symptoms? This part of the policy we based straight from CDC guidelines and guidelines from our State Department of Education and our health department. And so I think you'll see this probably pretty consistent among schools in Oklahoma at this point, but they may not return to school until all of those three conditions are met. So until they are 3 days with no fever and symptoms are no longer present and at least 10 days have passed. And so all of those conditions must have been met if a student tests positive. On this, we have the health department in this area, our Southwest region. I can't thank them enough. They have been so helpful to schools, issuing continually updated guidance and updates on the number of cases and things like that. And so they will report to the school. We have made personal contact. They have my cell phone numbers. I have their cell phone numbers. They'll make contact if there's a positive case of a student who attends here. They will make contact with us and let us know that so that we can address it. If an employee or student is known to have had close contact, again, these issues just seem to be getting more challenging, but in that case, going straight from CDC guidelines, health department, the guidance that we've seen from the State Department of Education and their return to learn policy, or guidelines. Students may not return to school for 14 days. In other words, they have to have a 14-day quarantine if they've had close contact. Now, we've defined close contact with the CDC's definition of close contact, and that's closer than 6 feet for longer than 15 minutes. Based upon some experiences that we've already seen through daycares that have been operating in this area through the summer, and also in communication with the health department, we added in there another option, and that is or action determined by the school administrators in consultation with the health department. So, for example, I know of some child care facilities that have not had to quarantine every child if one child tests positive, but they go through an intensive questionnaire with the facility, and they suggest cleaning measures and other ways to address that. And so, possibly 14-day quarantine unless the health department issues other guidance to us with direct communication. And then, as with probably all of this, I think the next sentence is important in our proposed plan, and that is this protocol is subject to changes in scientific research, and we've all seen that since March. Continual changes as we learn more about this virus and its transmission and how it affects people.
Oh, Mr. Bussey, should we put in here what the symptoms we'll be looking for are?
Definitely can.
And not only for that, but I don't even know if I know what all the symptoms are that I should be looking for, in my child to know, hey, this is one thing I need to look out for. If they're exhibiting this, I don't need to send them to school. Just as a kind of a clarification for everybody, what we're going to be looking for and what they need to be looking for to help us with this.
Absolutely. That's easy. I have the list already. So, yeah, that's just a copy paste. So, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
The next section there, the mitigation strategies, things that we're trying to do to be proactive. One thing that we're going to be very conscious of is to remind our students, not only just remind them, but teach them proper etiquette as far as sneezing and coughing, especially to our younger ones. We're going to facilitate and encourage and teach proper hand washing, other things listed in our plan. Teach them, remind them to keep their hands away from their face. And also strongly promote hand washing and hand sanitizing and have those both readily available. Our cleaning and disinfecting frequency will definitely increase. And then commonly touch services, and teachers will have to help us out with this, but those services will be cleaned frequently. And so we'll make sure that they have the supplies to do that. And everything that we have been purchasing, I would say, since the end of March, I make sure I go through, look at the EPA's approved list for killing COVID-19, for cleaning for COVID-19, and that's all that we've been purchasing. So all of our supplies at this point are all approved to be used to clean for COVID-19. On the next page, there was a typo there. I don't know if anybody caught it. We've read through this many times. Several people have. But there it says, depending upon the level of community spread within the school district, building, and that should be facilities, not faculties. Spell check didn't catch that because I had faculties, but it should be facilities may be closed to outside groups. And so that's why I mentioned earlier when we had the facility use request that it's important that we approve those for people that we know that are aware that they need to be cooperative and to continually communicate with us, because there may be times, like right now, where our buildings will be closed to outside groups. We need to know who's in here and be able to keep track of who is in our buildings for the safety of our students. That brings up the next point as far as visitors. Visitors will be allowed in the building on a very limited basis, and as a beginning of school, we're talking a very limited basis. We have already, as far as our process, so we have our new access control system that we installed last year. It's going to come in handy. If somebody rings, when school is in session, if somebody rings that bell, we're going to go out there, we're going to meet them, see what their needs are. And if it's a visitor that's going to come in the building, then we approve to come in the building, they will need to wear a face mask, just to help with that. the tracing of that and also the spread of any potential disease. Through the school day, these are some of the basic things that we are proposing to do in the school day. We put a lot of attention to the lunchroom, and in fact, we have a follow-up meeting tomorrow with our food service vendor. But we've adjusted lunch periods so that we can limit the number of students that are in the lunchroom at one time. Instead of we use about 2/3 of the lunchroom right now. During meal times, we'll spread those tables out so that we're using our space effectively. And then Mr. Tharp has adjusted his lunch schedule, so that we only have one classroom of kids, and we're calling those cohorts. We only have one cohort in line at a time, so that we don't have mixing of students in different classes, different classrooms. And even though it's not our policy, we've expanded that throughout the day. And so, for example, a classroom, not an entire class, but a classroom will go to the lunch line together, only them. They will go to PE together, only them. They will go to recess together, only that cohort. They will have music, only that cohort. That's taken a lot of work, and the schedule is really tight. But we're hoping that will work, because we see that that's going to be the best way to prevent widespread if it so happens. In the classrooms, of course, a desk will be spaced as much as possible, and then disinfected very often. Here we have for middle school, high school, between passing periods. And then also our teachers have been instructed high-touch surfaces, high-touch materials. For example, in the classroom in the past, we might have consolidated colored pencils, and we have a group of students draw from that same can of colored pencils. We're not going to do that now. They will each have their own supplies, and they will use only their supplies. On transportation, we put this, repeated this in the policy just to reiterate how important we think it is, just because of the circumstances. Face masks will be worn by the bus driver, the bus monitor, and also bus riders. And we're going to have seating charts on the bus, so that if a student tests positive, we know who was sitting close to them, and also to help spread students out on the bus as much as possible. But honestly, some of our bus routes, some of our buses on particular bus routes, they have a lot of students. They're pretty packed. So we are also, and in the policy we have written, that we're going to strongly encourage parents, if at all possible, and I know in some cases it's not going to be possible, but if at all possible, if they would bring their kids to school, that would help tremendously with the congestion on the bus. And also for their own children, that would just eliminate another source of mixing with students and cross-contamination. We put this, we put this in here just for anticipation. But we just want to be aware, want everyone to be aware. And as I said before, we have limited bus drivers. So we talked a lot about students, and if they contract the virus, or if they have direct contact with somebody who tests positive. But what if our bus drivers start testing positive? There could possibly be a time where we don't have enough people to drive buses. So we would have to come up with a plan to either adjust bus routes or possibly eliminate some bus stops on bus routes. Something that we hope doesn't happen, but we just put it in here just so that everybody is aware that that is a possibility if we have issues. The next section of our proposed plan has to do not directly with health and safety, but with learning. We have basically taken things that we have already been doing, things that we have experience with, things that our students and our teachers have experience with, and tried to formulate a plan so that we want something we can implement overnight if necessary. We want a plan that has options for parents who don't feel comfortable sending their children back to school yet. And so I think that we've included those options in our plan. So we'll have two options. So the first option we're calling traditional learning. That's our traditional learning pathway. So that's what we're all familiar with. So our classrooms would be open to students again. They would receive the in-person instruction from Hydro-Eakly teachers during the traditional school day, traditional school hours. And this is the pathway that could turn into what we're calling remote learning. So remote learning would still be led by Hydro-Eakly teachers. And so this is where we're going to be dependent upon a lot of the technology that we implemented last year and the things that we have implemented over the summer and the things that will be ready by the first day of school. So in remote learning, that would apply to students who may have to quarantine, whether they tested positive or had close contact. They wouldn't necessarily completely check out of that curriculum and start another pathway. All of our teachers will have iPads. They can video or they can live stream their classes. We have Google Classroom set up. They can be interacting, exchange materials with the students while they're at home. And so the students would be taking the same classes. They would just be taking it at home. They would be doing the same curriculum, the same coursework. They're just doing it at home for that temporary period. This would also go into effect if we had something like we saw last year, where we have to close either a classroom or a building or the whole campus. We would transition to what we're calling this remote learning pathway. Hydro-Eakly teachers would lead that. They would do that through videos, through curriculum, online curriculum that we subscribe to and that they already use in class, and through Google Classroom. The difference this year, though, and it's a very important difference that I want to point out, last year, nobody saw that coming, caught everybody by surprise. We had plans in place, but not a plan for a pandemic. And so on a statewide level, we agreed in our policy that we adopted, no new material will be taught and your grades cannot decrease. That will be different if we go into a situation, if I hope we don't, but if we go into a similar situation, new concepts will be taught. There will be new objectives that we are going to try to master. There will be grades given for every assignment, so grades could decrease during that time. We really want, and I think that we've worked on a plan where we can just implement remote learning overnight. We can continue learning new things, so our kids don't get behind, and that's our goal. The other option, other learning pathway, would be virtual learning pathway. Now this is different than anything that I've already talked about. This is not new. This goes along, or this is what we were talking about with that policy earlier in this meeting is the policy that we've talked about the last several years and adopted. So these students, they and their parents would apply for virtual learning. And there is an application that we have developed in the past. They would apply for this, and they would have to commit for the semester at a time. So if a parent wants their student to be part of our virtual learning pathway, which would go through a program called Hydro-Eakly, we're very familiar with it. We've used it for several different areas over the last several years. We've used it for our Alt-Ed program. We've used it for some other at-risk students. We've had some students that have been part of this virtual academy and went on to graduate even though they were at risk. We've had some students who wanted to take some advanced coursework that we don't have a teacher certified to teach. And so they have gone through this Hydro-Eakly program. So it's something we're very familiar with and the principals know how to use. But they would be required to commit for the entire semester. So if they apply or accepted, which the acceptance process, I'll just tell you, will not be as stringent now. But if they are accepted, then they start in August and they are committed for the entire semester. If they see at Christmas, we want to try the classroom again, we'll allow them to do that. Or vice versa, if they're in the classroom, traditional classroom the first semester, then we will allow them to apply for the second semester of this virtual learning pathway. That's the way we've handled it for a while, and the reason that we do that is it is a very tough transition to either come out of virtual learning, the Edgenuity curriculum, into the classroom. Students are really lost, or vice versa, to come out of the classroom and to try to start Edgenuity program where you don't have the full semester to complete that semester's work of curriculum. It makes it tough. So that's why we have that component in there where they're committed for a semester. In this pathway, all work is done at home. So these students don't come to school. Everything is online, but they don't have interaction with Hydro-Eakly teachers. It's the Edgenuity teachers. Our subscription that we have provides that. And so they're interacting with Oklahoma certified teachers, but it's not just our traditional classroom teachers. So those are the two pathways to learning that we would like to offer. Any questions or comments for that section?
On the remote learning pathway, would it still be a scheduled, kind of when we went to back in March, it was kind of just an open forum. You get your stuff, you get it done, everything's kosher. Will it be a structured schedule still that the teachers will put on their class, either online or what the right terminology is, for the certain amount of time that they should be during that day?
Yes, it will, and I'm glad you asked that. It will be much more structured than what we saw in the spring, and that translates to more work for the students. We understand that, but we want them to keep learning. We want them to learn new things. So yes, it will look more like a school day.
Okay.
It's just, they're not here. I failed to mention with that, we will be a one-to-one school, probably within 2 weeks, but by the time school starts for sure. That means every one of our students will have a device. Our kindergarten, first, and second graders, they will all have an iPad that's issued to them. So whether we're in class here or whether they're at home, they'll have access to that device. They'll be able to use their own individual device. And then the second grade and up through 12th grade, they will all have a Chromebook of their own that we check out to them. So we'll be a one-to-one school. And we were able to do that because we applied, one of the grants we actually applied for last fall, we were awarded that grant. And we had 2 more grants that we just been recently awarded. And those 3 grants together, they funded all of that. And so we're very thankful to get those 3 grants, in excess of $140,000 of grant money. So we're able to do that without any cost to the district. Also, we updated technology in the classroom, so all of the teachers will also have a device. Most of them, if not all, will have iPads, and they will all have an updated monitor in their classrooms where they can be interactive with the students from classroom if needed.
What about homes that may not have internet access?
That is a big challenge right now. There is actually a grant that we will apply for. It's a competitive grant that is due on the 14th. It comes out the 14th. And so I will write that grant. But the biggest challenge to us, I would like to get some hot spots around the district. But in our district, and a lot of you are familiar with this, in Hydro, certain providers, cell phone providers for hotspots, certain providers work. You get a little further south of Hydro, it's a different provider that is the only one that works. And you get to Eakly, and it's a different provider is the only one that works. And so that is a challenge that is, I wouldn't say unique to us, but there's a lot of schools that don't have to deal with that challenge. But the way our district is set up, we do. That is something that we're trying to address so that we can get them internet access. There's still the paper pencil packet that we had in the spring, but we would really like, I think it's most beneficial if the students could get online and interact that way. So yes, we're definitely working on that. I'll apply for that grant and we'll see what we can do to have some of those hotspots. During the closure, we did open up our Wi-Fi here on campus, and so we did have students that came up, of course, when the weather's nice, but we did have students that came up, drove the cars up, sat on the front porch, and they logged in that way. And we would, of course, allow them to do that again. And with our increased bandwidth, it would be no problem for us.
Yep.
Through the FAQs, they just address maybe some questions that parents might have based upon the rest of the policy. Anybody have any questions through those frequently asked questions? That last question is probably the most frequently asked. About will classes be canceled or school buildings be closed again? And I should have just put I don't know there. But it seems like there's a movement towards letting local districts make those decisions rather than a statewide mandate again, although I'll go back and say that statewide mandate was definitely the right thing to do at that time, with all the uncertainty that surrounded us at that time. But it seems like it's going to move towards more of a local decision for us to make what's based on what's best for us. So just to go back and review and feel free to ask any questions also. But in the section student health and safety. We're going to add a list of symptoms, and like I said, we have those lists. I'll just take it directly from the CDC. And then also my typo on the second page at the top should be facilities instead of faculties closed.
Good on that? Need a motion on that?
So moved.
Okay, Brandon has a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Johnny has a second. Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Kevin? You're on mute, Kevin.
Aye.
Perfect. And aye. All right, superintendent's report.
After all that, I really don't have much to report this one. I think I've already reported everything, so I have nothing to report.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Jeff has a motion. Kevin, you have a second?
Yeah.
All right, Kevin has a second. Brandon?
Aye.
Johnny?